affect Nigerians. And my colleague is here with me, Malam Jibril Ibrahim. You are welcome.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Uh, the nation, a lot of things are happening across the country. It's a difficult time. A lot of the economic activity in Nigeria is dependent on the state of the petrol supply, the price of the petrol. So I think it's really a relevant topic for us to discuss today. So I'm hoping we'll have a fruitful discussion.
Yes, I think I want to start by the Anki Panky, the way they are playing on our intelligence. And I think somebody should just take responsibility and better inform us as regards to whatever that is going on
I should
in
press it.
this sector. Now, first, I want to know I think yesterday,
I didn't do anything. No.
yesterday,
You continue. You can.
yesterday, I bought fuel at the rate of 928 naira. About 1 hour later, when I went to the filling station again, that I need to go further in Buhari, I bought it 1,050 naira just within 30 minutes. And my first question to the attendant is, I said, who ordered this increase of this pump price immediately? Is it president? Like everybody will say, it's Tinubu, it's Tinubu. I asked them, is it president? He said no. So, but today, when I buy from in front of Nnpc Abuja, that's corn oil in front of Nnpc. I bought a liter at the rate of 926 naira or thereabout. So the point is that we need to understand the history of how this started, and then we now take analysis of some of the things, then we can better inform our viewers of what is happening. Or what do you think?
Yes, I think this whole petrol price thing, we need to know that a lot is happening with the way it was, where all petrol was being imported. There are already businesses and processes that are set up to benefit from that. So the importers are there, the
Marketers,
the marketers are there, the local marketers. They know when they, normally when they say somebody is into oil and gas, he's supposed to be a big boy. So there are various machineries and machinations that they have arranged that is making somebody, I'm into oil and gas. Some of these things are just layers of corruption on top of themselves. So now that somebody is just coming to come and scatter the corruption empire, it will be very difficult. You do not expect it to go easily. Now, fine, I cannot say everything is corruption because at least some fuel is being delivered. But when you have corruption weaved into the delivery of petrol to the nation, then removing it, separating it becomes difficult. Because as it is, normally the crude that is being produced in Nigeria, the first challenge is that we are not producing enough. We might be producing enough, but bunkering and the rest makes it that we are barely doing 1 million barrels a day.
Do we
So
even know the number? It's not certain.
it's not, that's we are barely doing at least what's the official numbers, but everybody knows it's more than that. Like the GMD of Nnpc, or GCEO now that they call, Malam Mele Kyari, was saying recently there was a time during COVID that Nigeria did not do anything, and our production went to 2.3 million barrels a day because even the bunkers could not come out because of COVID. So that tells you that it's bunkering that is keeping our production at 1 million.
Should we pray for
COVID to come back?
Within that region alone.
So the issue now is we do not produce so much. Now, if we say we should give the most of the petrol, crude oil that we produce to Dangote, what will we use to fund our economy?
I think before we get into that detail of answer, let's analyze this particular word, subsidy. I think many Nigerians are ignorant of that statement, of that package. In my own way, as I see it, I understand that subsidy to me, or the removal of subsidy and forth and back, is that it's like Nigeria is making, for example, about 100 naira in a month. And 81 naira out of that money is being given to 21 people in the name of subsidy. 21 people are, like we may say, the marketers in the name of subsidy. Now, It is from the 19 naira that that will be remaining in there. Is from there they do education, they do road, they do other thing, and they still embezzle from it. Now, during the era of President Goodluck Jonathan, he said this way cannot profit Nigeria. So it was in opinion that we should just fight and buy the market. Firstly, we must understand that fuel is an international commodity and it's only determine the price by the international body that owns it. It's not Nigeria. But from our own angle, it is based on our the rate of our dollar, the dollar rate that will determine how much we are going to buy the essential commodity, the fuel. Just like our phone, iPhone, and the rest of anything. If it is sold for 1.8 million naira in America, but it can get to Nigeria and be sold for 2.8 million naira.
No, but some of the things we need to be aware of is a lot of the pricing, the impact of dollar on petrol that you are discussing is a function of if we send the petrol to the international market first.
Yes.
With what President Tinubu is doing now, which is sell the crude to Dangote directly in naira, and then he supplies petrol to the country in naira, the impact of dollar will be reduced. There are a lot of other parameters that will be in dollar. There will be human resource costs. There are various insurance that are there will be probably some parameters that are still in dollars. But if the crude does not go to the international market before coming back out,
as it used
then
to
we
be
can
before.
decide. So the real problem is if we don't produce enough, because this same crude is the main fuel, is the main source of revenue for our government. So if you don't produce enough and you sell it directly to the local refineries, Dangote, maybe if Port Harcourt refinery later picks up, and you take like 80% of what you produce, give it to Dangote. Dangote sells it to the public. Fine, we will not have petrol, but we will not have money for salaries.
Okay, I think let's take it this way. You remember that when Dangote finished building the refinery, he came out publicly and said they refused to sell crude to him. And the Nnpc and the government made us to know that this crude we are talking about, whatever crude we are going to do for this year, we have already sold it up front. So there's no room to accommodate anybody to know, because the money has already been taken up front. That's what some people were saying, that we are at mortgage, because we have already mortgaged our fuel, collected the money to do our resources. Then the federal government has to come and said there is a 40% local reserve that they have. Then the federal government order now came that 40% local reserve that they have should be given to all the local refinery, which is Dangote, all the other Nigerian refineries that will be coming up, that they have been promising us that it will come this month, it will come next month, that we have never seen the light of the day. The one we have seen is only Dangote. I think from my own angle, what I think is happening is that there are some people that are not telling us the facts. They are just playing about our brain. Today, this one will push us to that. If you see the way when they asked Dangote, when he launched that the fuel is now ready, and this is it, how much are you going to sell it? He referred us back to Nnpc. When Nnpc is president, and later, by the time you discover, another news came that they said Dangote came out, the deputy chairman of Dangote refinery said, that Indian man said, Dangote, they are not, the marketer said they are not going to, the local marketers, they are not going to buy from them. They are only buying 3% of what they produce, and they will be going abroad to get the rest. Now, so this thing marveled everybody, and they were wondering, why should something like that be worth it? They said it because, according to allegedly, they said the price was so low, and they have to continue to import from abroad. Now, it was also alleged that they wrote to the president.
I think the low price was related to diesel.
Okay, and I think they wrote to the president that they should tell Dangote to take offhand their business. Now, a day or two after that, there was an allegation that the spokesperson of Nnpc claimed that a certain amount were agreed. I think 8 6s or something or something were agreed for them to buy the fuel from Dangote. But all of a sudden, to their surprise, he sold it at another higher price. And I think yesterday,
Sorry to jump in, but I think there is a lot of information, misinformation, where information might not necessarily be wrong or be a lie, but there are times when it is not factual, it's not accurate, in the sense that the price that was reported that Dangote will sell is at the point that the government gives him the crude. So if you supply me the crude, I will be able to give you
at that price.
At that price. So, and the guy says, okay, the petrol that is in my storage now that you want to buy was from a crude I brought at in dollar
from outside the country.
From outside the country.
When they refused him.
When they refused him. So it will be mischievous, which is what I think the Dangote information was saying, that for Nnpc to go out and say, he still sold it to us at 898 naira per liter. The 700 and something that was agreed was for, if you supply is for the diesel, is for the crude that you supply to me, not for the one I went to buy in dollars.
Yes, you know, Dangote released a press statement yesterday, and they claimed that the information given by the spokesperson of Nnpc,
yes,
if the press release is officially from Dangote, as we have seen their logo, is that the information of them selling at higher price as different from what they agree is not correct. It's not accurate, and they have seen a lot of.
There is a lot of hidden. There is a lot of, like you call it, hanky panky. There is a lot of negotiation and moving parts in this conversation. What crude did you give me? What is my actual refining rate? What does government? How much does government still wants to subsidize? These are all parameters that are moving, that, in all honesty, personally, I would want to say that we should give them time. There might be need for time. Like I said in the beginning, some of these things that are interests that are going to be killed. So it's like, let's give them a soft landing for them to die peacefully.
Okay, I think I will agree with you. And I want to agree with you based on the facts that I got from billionaire Femi Otedola. You know, a statement credited to him that he advised all the marketers to go and sell their depot in a scrap before it's too late, because we will no longer needed them. And if you look at that,
so that's if you look at
that, it's even. I thought that why will he have to say that? Because he's very sure that Dangote have the capacity to do. But from what is happening now, from a release that was related out yesterday from Nnpc's cover, allegedly, was that Nnpc is going to be buying 25 million liters of fuel from Dangote, and they will continue to buy 15 million
for another few months. Which they will stop by December. By that release, by December they will not even import anything.
I am trying to get at a point.
Okay.
And they are going to be importing another 15 million with the claim to maintain their claim that we use 40 million liters of petrol per day. Now, if that should be, how do we now get the parameter of the pricing?
No, I think that's why there is the issue of regulation of the price. So if the government knows, because if Nnpc is the one importing, and Nnpc is the one that is the sole buyer from Dangote,
yes,
then they can say, okay, the one I bought at Dangote, let's say 780 something, whatever price they agree with Dangote, the one we import, but both of them, we want to sell them at 500 or X amount, whatever amount. Now they are currently at 8 something. So the government will be the one to know how much is subsidizing on each one.
Are you still subscribing to fuel subsidy?
It's a subsidy has never gone anywhere. The Nnpc or the government just it's almost like lied to us.
Lied?
And even during Buhari, Ibe Kachuku was the first one that started all those grammar that, okay, we are doing, I enjoyed the terminology he used then. He said they will be doing a price modulation. price modulation. When did this? He had that calibration that he did and all these things. But last, they were subsidizing, claiming to have removed subsidy. And Tinubu's one was worse because he came out category that subsidy is gone. So he came out with bold chairs, not even using grammar to colorize it. He came out that subsidy is gone, and he has paid the highest subsidy
but because
than even the previous guys.
A day or two before he was sworn in as a president, he might have been exposed to what is in the cover of the government.
Yes.
And at that point, it was known to him that there was no any money allocated to any subsidy in the budget.
Yes.
Or whether
you see, let's get some things right.
So I think that's why he mentioned that.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean that he was the one that removed it. That's my point I'm trying to make.
He's the one that didn't put it. Because what you want to happen would happen. As a president, Buhari had a basic strategy that I would get Dangote up and running. I will get Port Harcourt up and running by so time, and I will not need to pay subsidy. So he put, sometimes if you have not committed yourself to some things, your system might not take it serious. So he took like a kind of bold step to say the money for subsidy will not even be in the budget because I will commission Dangote and I will commission Port Harcourt. If you know, a week before he's handing over, he commissioned Dangote.
Yes.
And then you have Port Harcourt with all the grammar telling us they will come. They have done mechanical completion.
91%.
We have 91% and all these things. So I think Port Harcourt is playing games, but Dangote commissioned. So essentially what Tinubu needed to do was accelerate the delivery of Dangote's petrol. Rather than all this drama they are doing, had it been Tinubu that came out with categorical statement that subsidy is gone because the previous government did not put it in the budget and he did not apply for a supplementary budget. Because even if the previous government did not put it, he could apply for supplementary budget from the National Assembly and get the funding. So you cannot say that it was somebody else that removed it. Somebody else removed it, but you did not put it back. So you are the one that removed it, that did not put it back. So that is like on one hand.
Okay, do you want to
But the bottom line is...
Will you subscribe to the fact that some Nigerians have been programmed to believe that the president or presidency generally, or the executive and the rest of them, goes to the office every day just to come and use this fuel to inflate injury upon Nigeria every day?
I don't know if any of them will let me go and inflict injury on Nigerians, but many of the key guys have interests. Their interest supersedes the welfare of Nigerians. So they might not be the one that is bringing the injury, but they cannot sacrifice their welfare to remove that injury. So they might not be the one that brought it, but they will not use their own interest.
I always believe that there are three factors that hinders any policy of government. One, in-house enemy of that thing.
Yes.
Then another one is opposition. And I also believe international body, including IMF, whatever, all of them, if those things are not in their ways, they will make sure that they'll block it.
Yeah.
I think Nigeria is better for us to understand how the governance in every country works, particularly our own country. We shouldn't always just listen to whatever anybody just tell us and just take it like that and believe that somewhere somebody is just afflicting injury or not. We should try our best to understand how it works and ask questions when it's appropriate. I think our time is almost off. So let's now give Nigeria assurance. What do you now think it will happen in the next 3 months? What's your projection?
My projection is that Dangote, because this guy is a businessman, that's why you could see Dangote bring out his bottle, my diesel is cleaner than all and when somebody is going to sabotage his 25 billion naira investment, he made noise sharp. So I see Dangote as a very astute businessman. So I see him in the next 1 month, 2 months, I see his petrol on the streets and in the cars in Nigeria. And if that happens, at whatever the price, Dangote's fuel will be in Nigeria. And as that happens, things will get better. Petrol would get more available. I don't think it will be cheaper. But I think by the time it gets more available, by the time petrol gets more available, it becomes, hopefully, I'm also optimistic that in a month, 2 months, hopefully, Dangote Port Harcourt refinery would also be activated. So if we have all these refineries working, then there is a good chance that there's a good chance that there will be petrol. But I don't think the prices will come down
to what,
to what
200,
some of us
200,
are expecting, not
300,
even 400.
not even
I don't see it
600.
coming down. Yes,
Not even
I see
600.
it around that 700, 800 range. And then critically, if it's around that 800 range, there will also be the issue of the government's own refineries also coming up.
I think the best, my own projection is that whenever the refinery of Port Harcourt comes alive, and that one is also supplying, they say it has about 25 million capacity or thereabout. If Dangote and that one is at hand, we'll be able to have enough.
Yes.
And they will, just as you said in the beginning, there will not be need for us to refer back to any shipping, importation of fuel. And I think at the end of the day, the market force will fight for itself, and the price can be expected.
Yes, you know, one other critical factor is this issue of what the volume of production of the crude itself. If Nigeria does not find a way to increase crude production, then we just transfer all the money into refining, and the government itself, its primary source of income, will be jeopardized.
I think it's 40%.
It is of,
I think it's 40% according to what I...
There is issue of percentage, but the absolute value, 40% of 1 million liters, you know, is different from, so even if it's 40%, but the guy needs, let's say he needs 600, like the capacity of his installation is 650,000 barrels per day.
Okay.
Where is he going to get the differential? Had it been our production is back at around the 2 million barrels per day, that is like the OPEC, like our installed capacity, then we can easily give him whatever, that 40% will be close to 800, is even more than what he can take at his full capacity. So the critical thing for the success, for the price, for things to stay normal, is the ability of the government to increase crude production. That's where I think the critical work for the president would be.
Okay, I think Infocus we need to appeal to our leaders to please speak to Nigerians. Many information are out there that people are misunderstanding what's the effort of the government, what is the effort of Nnpc, and what are the efforts of the marketer, including the Dangote refinery. There's a need for Nigerians to be told in the language that they will better understand. I mean, it's not by press release alone, it's by critical information and the belief and the right statement for them to understand. Because news out there, we have a lot of misinformation, and that is making a lot of Nigerians to hate the government, to hate any policy that is coming, whether best for the country or not. They just don't want to see it. But this fuel matter, it has a lot on the Nigerians, and there's a need for us to be clear and open other channels for Nigerians to have more relief. I think that will just be how I'll put my own.
Yeah, I think it is critical that the truth comes out. That will be, for me, one of the biggest things I will request from the presidency or for the government is just transparency. There's already a trust issue, a lot of the government. And when that trust rises to the head of the government, the perception out there that his son, or whether it's his son, or the Wale Tinubu or Ando guy, has a hand in this thing. So that's already linking to the presidency. It's only fair that the presidency clears that. Because if they keep quiet, Dangote says this price today, there will be room. When you don't have facts out there, when Dangote cannot tell us his price, and Nnpc cannot tell us their price and stuff, then, like we started this conversation with, you are taking Nigerians for granted, and it's really not in the best interests of the leadership of this country. Because if people don't trust the leadership,
System.
there is a lot simple things that you expect people to just agree and do, they won't do. So it's really critical that the government starts talking straight and they start telling us the fact of the matter. Because some of us supported the government, as in voted for Tinubu. So we do not wish him bad. It is in our interest that he succeeds. Okay. But it is not in our interest that we be lied to. It's
Yeah.
in our interest that will be told
Then
the
I
truth.
think our marketers should please come to our aid, because it's like some of the statements are coming from their room. It's like they don't care about the welfare of Nigerians.
Why? They are businessmen.
No, even if you're a businessman, there's patriotism fact that you have to understand what happens to your people. Would they be able to feel good about it? Not only you smiling to
So
the
what
bank.
do you think
I think
the
they can also do well, even raise their ego somehow, bring it down for the benefit. They can still make millions if they all agree that let's all the refinery works. When it
is it
works,
the marketers that will
I
make
am
the
not saying that
refineries work?
something.
What is the fault of the marketers, the way you see it?
And some fingers are being pointed to them that they have hands in the refinery not coming up, so that they can keep importing. But these are under allegation. But what I believe is that we should do all we need to do to make sure that our country is the best. We don't have any other place that we can call our own. Every hands should be on deck, and we make sure that we do things better. I think let's round it up from here. Next episode, we'll be bringing you another thing
But before we round it up, if you can just take a few minutes, we are the Dambe sports. What would I call it? There was this Dambe tournament that we were yesterday,
Yes,
and I think
yes.
it was really an interesting
Oh my God.
outing.
That Dambe has been in existence for over 600 years from the northern Nigeria, and they kept maintaining it. There are about 3 components from what I saw yesterday. There are components of special
Do you
drama.
have shots from that yesterday's show? The Dambe
Yes,
sports.
there are components of those special drama, and those fighters dance to the tune of that drum beats, that the talking drum, whatever they're saying. Then there is a special, let me say, chanter, who also speaks to the ego of those fighters. Traditionally, it makes them feel
Charged
charged up. Then another one is that there are people around them that supported them. And I think if these people can be well packaged, like their counterparts, you told me something, that why we are not winning in Olympic, well, because the games that we are used to are not figured out in those places. It's the game that the Europeans knows how to do better, the one they are bringing on board. If by peradventure this our game are developed and this our people are insured, I learned that they earn between 20 to 100,000, while their counterparts were earning between $20,000 to about $100,000 per fight, and a lot of incentive. If all of this thing is managed, that program, that Dambe is a very good one. I think yesterday I discovered that they have already updated it. They have upgraded it to another, because it has 1, 2, 3 rounds now. Unlike after hitting, once there's a knockout, that's the end of the game.
Yeah, I think that yesterday's one was quite interesting, and but for me, I don't know, it was quite raw. It looked like a very raw sport. Like I saw some of the fighters after, like the Russian guy that the Nigerian guy defeated in the last match yesterday.
That we watched.
You could see blood. Is that, like, when I was showing my family, they were like, is this still a sport? Is a sport supposed to be this raw? And
maybe that was the first time we got closer.
That close to some of these kind of things. But it was really an interesting.
Even those fighters too, those who use gloves, yes, you can see their eyes used to. Yeah, they have bruises everywhere. Yeah. So it's like that. But I think we should just encourage Nigerian government and others to make sure that they keep that sports on life, and it can bring a lot of money. And those of the young guys that is flexing their muscles on the streets anyhow, they can
let them
from
go into Dambe and turn into something.
So that's much we can have on this program to this week. Next time we'll be bringing you another good discussion that has a lot of information. Thank you very much. Till see you. Bye bye.